Okay, we're live. Let's talk about it. Let's review the things I talked about in my last video that I posted for everyone to view, not just my subscribers. As always, for educational purposes, not financial advice. The NQ, we've been tracking big time on this monthly. And these are things that I showed you on the monthly that I felt would be relevant to pay attention to. If we could regain 179, we could look higher. We regained it yesterday after the close, somewhat there, right around 3 o'clock, and then we ran on up. Today we get the sell-off. Remember, it's the last day of the trading month, so be aware of that. Don't just jump out in front of this blind. Know your levels. So that's number one, though. Hey, this is really near a bottom. We know that we close up here a lot, that we rarely close below this ever, percentage-wise, and I went over all those percentages. So the 27,022, they overshoot. We got to 27,200. So we didn't quite get there. We rallied up, and now we are breaking that 179 again, which is that S2 pivot, 28,179. Be aware. You don't want to be trying to be long here unless that holds into the end of the day, and it's the last day of the month. The other thing, SMH, we know who the king is, right? We, in the last 5 years, have never closed below this overshoot. So this month's overshoot is 527.49. We were below it at 500. We ripped up. We ran right into resistance at the S2, 563. And like I always say, their resistance, once you break them until proven otherwise, we broke this one, and it was resistance until it wasn't right here. This has been resistance, and it still is. So maybe that 527 holds it. Maybe it gets there. Not sure there. The other thing I talked about was Apple. I said, hey, I'm not a buyer of Apple here because we are over the overshoot, the R3 up at the top. And we know that we only finish up there about 5% of the time on 20 years worth of data. So we only finished above that 333.24. I said, this is not the place where you buy Apple. They had earnings yesterday. I think the earnings were okay, but whatever. Like I said, the market interprets it how it wants. That's why you just play the levels. And now we're trading 300. So we're down $44. That's why statistically, you do not want to be in front of that. NVIDIA, the biggest name in SMH, just kind of holding steady around this 195 mark. Like I said, that's one of my favorite names going into the fall. MU getting slaughtered again, down 5.5%, which is $47. That's another big name in SMH. And it's a big part of the sell-off. I think AMD was holding okay earlier when I looked at it. It's still up just 0.4%. It's not selling as hard. So those are the things that are a negative. Here's your positive right here, Amazon. After earnings, it's up $31, 13.5%. Perfect off of S1 for the monthly. So if you're an individual stock player, you could leverage this to your advantage. I don't want to buy anything here. These work for stocks just the same as we use them for the indices. You can see resistance, breaks support, finds support, and now it's trading $40 higher than that support. So keep that in mind. I just wanted to review that the NQ, we know how important that level was. This is Tesla. I was just seeing if it's still having hard days, and it is. We know how important this 28,000, we'll just call it 200 area is, and we cannot hold that. It was support here for a bounce, and then it became resistance. Tried to be resistance and then got above it. And like I said, we traded all the way up to 750 or so, and now we're back at 147. Seasonality, going into the 1st of August here can be a little rough, but I would look for this thing to find some momentum, at least for the next part of next week. So we'll just see. Like I said, it's kind of a rebalancing day into the month. Kind of let them do their thing. I know there's some international news and stuff that is bothering it. So just keep that in mind. We will have new levels Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time. I will put out your new monthly and your new weekly levels, okay? Mark them on your chart. If you want this indicator, contact me. Let me know. I will get it to you. And then you can produce all this data yourself and review it and study it and learn. And that is one of the best ways that you can understand this stuff. The weekly levels for the Q last week were somewhat decent. I know we had a good bounce here. Then it just chopped through here. Couldn't hold S2. Once it regained it with some green candles, it went really well all the way to the pivot. And now here we come back down. I think the ES had a great bounce off of a weekly pivot. Yeah, right here. That was the low of the week, 73.24. Perfect off of S2. Traded all the way up another 125 points or 50 points from that. So great spot to play it. And know your levels comes up. Perfect retest. That is a beautiful retest right there. That's what you want to see. A breakthrough. And then, oh, we want to see this. When it comes back down in there, that's where you buy it and it holds, because that's your retest. We break it. And a lot of the times when you see them break it with momentum, you get that kind of look. You got a break here that never retested, went all the way to the pivot. Red candles, slice and dice. Okay. Way different than a pop with green candles and then a continuation. So keep that stuff in mind. I know that Microsoft has had a month. It's above its weekly R3 and its monthly R3. Doesn't finish up here much. Be interesting to see if it backs off all the way to 428, which would be a $30 loss. Something major would have to happen. But you never know. Anything major can happen, will happen at all times. Just keep that in mind. NQ, trying to hold that level, that 179. See if it can close above it for the month. It's only got a 4 or 5% chance over the last 20 years to close below that level. Keep that in mind. All right, as always, I'm going to leave it there, and we will talk soon.